Hey guys, Hinji here. So I wanted to make my matchup chart. So this will be a year-long matchup chart because it's been a year since Ultimate came out, and a lot of people wanted me to make a chart and give my take on all the matchups because there's been matchup charts for all these other characters, and there hasn't been any for like Pac-Man. Well, there's been a couple, but like none to the high levels, you know. And bear in mind that I have experience in every matchup in this game at a high level, with the exception of Pit and Dark Pit, because at a high level there's no real pits or dark pits. You know, Earth doesn't really play anymore, and there are pits, but not that many. So yeah, so we're gonna start with the matchups that he wins. So the first one, Little Mac, this matchup's always been bad for him since Smash 4. Hydrant Trampoline keeps him out. It's even worse for him now because you can edge guard him a lot easier. Little Mac doesn't have access to air dodging more than once. He only gets one air dodge, and Pac-Man, being the beast that he is in edge guarding, he's even better in this game. So it's even worse for Little Mac. Kirby, this matchup was bad for him since Smash 4. Trampoline invalidates his whole ground game pretty much because he has to grab to get damage, and if he's not grabbing, then he's not doing anything. So yeah, pretty much that. Incineroar, this matchup is also bad because you can't get in, and I have experience. I've beaten Magister twice actually. Won 2 art pieces from him. Yeah, it's kind of a rough matchup. He can't get in because the hydrant's there. He can't side B because the hydrant's blocking him. He gets edge guarded pretty badly off stage. His recovery's not the best. Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers is you can separate them really easily. Hydrant is a distraction for them, especially if you split them up. Nana has a hard time getting back to Popo. Forward air, dash attack, 2 good tools versus them when separating them. So yeah. Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. The hydrant water gets rid of the Koopa toy. He can't side B because you have trampoline. He gets invalidated by a lot of Pac-Man's tools. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the +2 area. +1 area now. First starting off with the Rats, Pikachu and Pichu. These 2 matchups, well, since Smash 4, I always thought that Pac-Man beat Pikachu in Smash 4, and you know, Thunder Jolt isn't really a problem because the hydrant just soaks up the hits. Trampoline is good versus quick attack. If they try to escape or try to get in with an attack, you can put a trampoline in front of you, so they can't get in with a quick attack. Your Fruits invalidate his Thunder Jolts. You can combo him. Bell up smash kills them early because they are light characters. For Pichu is even worse. I would even argue Pichu being a +2 matchup, but I would put him at +1 because he does damage himself and gets nothing off of what he wants to do. Kind of similar to Kirby, where they want to get their grab combos, but they can't get their grab combos. Pac-Man is a hard character to grab. Moving on, Marth. Marth is just a worse Lucina, so everything just doesn't connect for him, and Pac-Man is like hard to combo with Marth. I remember around the earlier days of Ultimate when Mr. E was playing Marth, a lot of stuff just wasn't working out for him. Lucina's just more consistent. Yeah, Marth overall is a slightly worse character than Lucina, so that's why I would put him there. Meta Knight used to beat Pac-Man in Smash 4, but now it's like the reverse, where like he has his ladder combos, but it's not as consistent as it was in Smash 4, and Trampoline invalidates him. He doesn't have what he used to have, you know, and it kind of sucks. Meta Knight, I think this is probably the worst version of Meta Knight ever. Ever. Moving on, Ike gets... Pac-Man's one of those characters that doesn't really care about what Ike wants to do, because all Ike wants to do is nair, and Pac-Man can just jump up there and hit him with a forward air. By the time he jumps, he gets forward aired. Next thing you know, Ike's off stage, and then you just edge guard him for free. That's pretty much how the matchup goes. It's pretty simple. Moving on, Banjo. Banjo gets walled out by a lot of what Pac-Man has, like trampoline and hydrant. When he wants to do a Wonder Wing, if you put a trampoline out, it actually puts him into free fall, so you get a free punish after that. It's pretty bad. If he does his recovery up B, like he does like an early one, and tries to go up, Pac-Man can intercept him with a hydrant or even a down air, you know. So I have a lot of experience in this matchup. Let's see, Inkling's trouble is that Inkling is always using ink, and because they have to use the ink on the hydrant, it's a waste of time. And then when they don't have ink, that's when they're in trouble, and then Pac-Man can kind of get in. So a lot of the normal Inkling routines that you see, like roller, splat bomb, those get invalidated by like hydrant, so they can't really play their game versus Pac-Man. So that's why it's kind of a bad matchup. Diddy Kong, it was already a bad matchup in Smash 4, and Diddy Kong is worse in this game, but the buffs do help, so it works out for the most part. But it's still a bad matchup. You know, he can't do his normal stuff. Kind of like the other matchups I went back to. Hydrant just invalidates his banana game. He has to rely on raw hits, and if a lot of his raw hits are unsafe on hit now, a lot more unsafe on hit than it was in Smash 4, so it's even worse. Duck Hunt gets edge guarded pretty badly. It was already a bad matchup in Smash 4 because Pac-Man's projectiles beats Duck Hunt's projectiles, so it was already bad. He gets edge guarded because now down air is an option. Down air is a move now, so whenever he tries to recover with up B, you know, it's a free down air. He has no hitbox. Dr. Mario, he actually beats Dr. Mario because Dr. Mario is slow. Dr. Mario is not really a threat to Pac-Man's. He can't really pressure that well, and then his recovery is bad, so him getting forward aired, if he gets forward aired like once or twice off stage, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Corrin got the treatment from Smash 4 where she got nerfed, and it became a reverse matchup where it was bad for me in Smash 4 and that was good for Pac-Man in Ultimate. So she can't get the stuff started. Also, counter on Hydrant is bad for Corrin because she is in a lot of lag afterwards. Before, you only had one frame to punish her. King K. Rool, he gets slaughtered. Originally, I would have put him at +2, but he got buffed, so he is a little bit threatening, but he still is easy to fight. I would say forward air is really good versus him. Pac-Man doesn't really have to worry about his armor moves because he can throw projectiles and be at a safe space. Off stage, you can keep dropping hydrants on his up B recovery. It's actually kind of silly. It's actually really funny. Moving on, Luigi. Luigi gets edge guarded pretty badly. You can side B his fireball. When he's off stage, pretty much back air edge guards. He doesn't have any mix-ups to get back on stage. It's pretty weird how they dealt with Luigi in this game. They gave him his plunger as a grab, which isn't bad, but I would say, yeah, it's still a bad matchup for Luigi. Ganondorf, he gets edge guarded pretty badly. Kind of the same with King K. Rool. I won't go any further there. Isabelle gets invalidated by just being pressured. She can't get anything started once Pac-Man's in her face. Let's see, Ryu, Ken, Terry. I put them all in the same tier. They all get edge guarded pretty badly. They have to be in Pac-Man's face to get something started, and it's really hard for them to get in to get something started. You just edge guard them. Wii Fit Trainer, it was even in Smash 4, but I do believe Pac-Man got better in this time around, and based on my experience, Pac-Man's projectiles beats her projectiles. He can forward air, like if she throws out a soccer ball, you can just forward air it back and it hits her in the face. You could throw whatever fruit you want, it hits her back. Off stage, if she recovers with up B, you can just down air over and over again. Just edge guard, just be on point with that. So yeah, Jigglypuff, although she did get buffed, she's still not the greatest character. I won't go any further there. Sonic gets invalidated by just being walled out, and he has to rely on a couple setups to actually get a stock, and it's not really easy to get those setups if the Pac-Man knows what he's gonna do. One of those being like spin dash into forward air. Once you know like how to get around that, then he can't really do much. Peach. Now I will go on this a bit. So with Peach, originally when the game first came out, I thought, you know, he lost the matchup because I saw all these Peach clips, and then at Let's Make Moves I lost the Sam Sora. I also lost them at Genesis and Momocon. They were all really close. After Momocon, I actually did a lot of studying. I also lost to a lot of other Peach mains. I've lost to Ling Ling before, and I've lost to Blazing Pasta. So right after Momocon, I did a lot of research, and I was talking to a lot of other Pac-Man mains, and we came up with a lot of different ideas, and we started to realize over time that Pac-Man actually beats Peach for a number of reasons. The defensive wall of what the hydrant can bring, Pac-Man being able to charge freely and safely, because Peach as a character, she's kind of slow. So after that, I beat Ling Ling the last 4 times. The last 4 times I played him, I beat him. I never lost to a Peach ever again. I got my run back on Blazing Pasta as well. Never got to play Sam Sora since then, but you've also seen, you know, T beat Udace and T beat Sam Sora before, so you know, both of us are doing well in that matchup, so I would say it's +1 right now. Ridley, unfortunately, he's a heavy, and he's very proficient in what he does. The problem with Ridley is that he's not that heavy to utilize the rage that he has, because he has a lot of moves. He has a lot of good moves. He has forward smash, he has forward tilt, he has a lot of good moves with rage that he can utilize, but he can never get to that point. And he gets comboed pretty hard. He's big, so Galaxian combos him really well. Off stage, he gets edge guarded pretty well, so that's why I would say it's +1. Alomar is a bad matchup. It was even a bad matchup in pre-patch, I would say. Pre-patch, it was bad. The problem with Alomar is that Pac-Man's projectiles beats his projectiles. He can kind of zone him out. He can also use like down air to stop like up smashes out of shields, and dash attack is pretty good on Alomar as well. Off stage, he gets down aired if he recovers low, he gets back aired if he recovers high. He doesn't really have a safe point to deal with what Pac-Man has, and Alomar strives off of people approaching, and Pac-Man doesn't really have to approach, so that's pretty much it. Yeah. Me Gunner, the different combinations that Mii Gunner has is interesting. Mii Gunner has Reflector. Mii Gunner also has the PK, the energy thing that allows them to absorb, and that energy ball allows Mii Gunner to like use like a mini wind box to push items away, so it can kind of protect them. But once you get in on Mii Gunner, it's kind of rough for them, and then off stage you get edge guarded for free. So yeah, those are the +1 matchups. Moving on, gonna go to the even matchups. Greninja is even. I have a lot of experience with a lot of Greninja mains, most notably Venia. Also, I played JW. I've played many other Greninjas. It's probably one of the most played, top 5 most played matchups based on my experience. And Pac-Man does a little bit better in this matchup because he has better tools to fight him. He can also not really approach Greninja. He can kind of make Greninja play his game, and he has better edge guarding tools. Usually in Smash 4, Pac-Man would have to let Greninja get back on stage and then try to ledge trap him. In this game, he can kind of go out there and down air him if Greninja recovers low, or even if he recovers high, he can back air him. Back air is stronger in this game, so that's another thing. Counter on Hydrant is still a thing in Smash, so it can be an issue, but there is counterplay around that. So I would say it's even. Excuse me. Next up, Falgot. This matchup is kind of a slow-paced matchup. Not a lot of interactions going on. Falco has a reflector, and a reflector that actually forces pressure on someone. But the problem is that Pac-Man doesn't really have to throw his lethal weapons. He can throw like little cherries or whatever and get in on Falco. And Falco's not really that good at dealing with close quarter combat, unless he gets a grab on someone. But like if he's getting pressured, he can't really deal with it. It's really hard for him to get out of pressure. He has to like roll or do something. But yeah, he gets invalidated. Off stage, he gets edge guarded pretty free. So I would say this matchup is even. Wolf, kind of the same thing. He runs on the same spectrum where he gets edge guarded pretty freely. He doesn't. This matchup is a little bit faster than Falco. Lasers can be an issue, but like Hydrant blocks the lasers, so it's not really an issue. It's kind of a slow-paced matchup, but a little faster than Falco. Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is definitely even. It was good in Smash 4, but I think honestly this is the best Donkey Kong. And people would argue that Smash 4 was the best Donkey Kong because he had the ding dong or whatever, but I think naturally like his neutral is a lot better in this game. His moves have more priority. It's safer on hit, so you can't really trade with him, and even if you are trading with him, you're losing because he's the heavier character. He still struggles to get in sometimes, and he gets edge guarded pretty badly, but his neutral overall on stage is pretty good. His tilts are better, his ground pound is better. He still has a godlike back air, to stop Pac-Man. He can kind of get in on Pac-Man and stop him from like charging sometimes, put the pressure on him. But like his disadvantage is still bad, so that's why I would put it even. Chrom and Roy. I have experience in this matchup. I'm actually even in sets with Shoyo James, or aka Rivers. We're both 2-2. We both have experience in this matchup. Roy, I've beaten Goblin Man before. I know a lot about that matchup. I play both of those characters just for fun, so I know what those characters can do. Both of them get edge guarded pretty badly, but both characters can actually like do massive damage and massive combos on each other once they get started. So it's pretty exciting matchup to watch overall. Pit and Dark Pit, like I said, I don't really know this matchup. This is probably the only matchup in the game I don't know. To be honest, there's no high level ones around. So yeah, but I'm gonna put it even just to be safe. Joker, thing about Joker is that, you know, yeah, I put it even, and the reason why is because when he doesn't have Arsene, he's no threat. He can't deal with the hydrant properly. He doesn't have good ways of getting rid of it. He gets edge guarded really badly off stage when he doesn't have Arsene. When he does have Arsene, it can be a problem, but Pac-Man can stall him out with his tools. He doesn't even have to engage with him when he has Arsene. He can get rid of the hydrant pretty well. Problem is that he can't really cover good space with when he gets rid of the hydrant, because the knockback on his moves are so high that once he hits it, it just flies off of the stage. It doesn't really put any pressure on Pac-Man. Bayonetta's even because you know, she's just nerfed. What more can I say? Bowser's, this is the best Bowser ever by far in any Smash game, and yeah, heavies are doing better in this game overall. Kind of the same thing with DK. Better priority moves, a better advantage state, bad disadvantage state, so that's why I put even. Falcon, pretty even. Pac-Man can't let him in, like you shouldn't let him in. When he gets in, he can do damage. Pac-Man can edgeguard Falcon really well, but also on the flip side, Falcon has a good advantage state on Pac-Man, so it's pretty even. Samus, Dark Samus is even. They both can do a lot of damage to each other. It's pretty much a zoning war. I won't harp on it too much. Hero, his neutral is not that good, and he relies mostly on like his RNG, and he gets edge guarded pretty badly by Pac-Man. But when he has bounce, he has a good way of dealing with Pac-Man, but Pac-Man can still fight him without projectiles, even when he has bounce. Lucario can be scary if you don't kill him in time, but if you know how the Lucario moves in the air, it can be a problem for Lucario. His disadvantage is not that great. Pac-Man's projectiles beats his projectiles. You can side B his Aura Sphere, you can throw whatever fruit you want at his Aura Sphere. You can use the trampoline to block his Aura Sphere, so you can use a lot of stuff to beat his moves. DDD is even now, mainly because he has a reflector. His neutral B, the swallow, he can shoot Pac-Man's projectiles back at him. They're reactable, obviously. Like, I've never gotten hit by a reflected, you know, fruit by DDD, but it keeps the matchup honest. Like, I can't just throw projectiles at him for free. He does still have a bad disadvantage state, so you can get rid of stocks that way. Link is even. It's kind of a zoning war, very similar to when I was talking about Samus and Dark Samus, so I won't go into too much that one. Rob is a zoning matchup, another zoning matchup. Both characters do well versus each other. Laser goes through Hydrant. Rob's disadvantage is bad versus Pac-Man. Like, Pac-Man's normals are way better, so like just keeping him in a bad spot is like really good for Pac-Man, you know. Lucina is even. Me and Mr. E go back and forth. We know like how each other's playstyles and characters, what each of our characters can and cannot do. Mr. E has also beaten other Pac-Mans. I've beaten other Lucinas. I've beaten Hobby before, MKLeo's cousin. I've also beaten Kool-Aid, which is a former Pac-Man main. I don't know if he still plays Pac-Man, but like, I know he just goes strictly Lucina in this game. So I've beaten him before. I've beaten his Lucina before. So Yeah, I would say this matchup is even. Pac-Man's normals are just better overall. Mega Man is even. Zoning War. The bell mounts are even. The only reason why it's even is because I don't have the speed to really get up to Richter and Simon in time. But once I get in, like, I can just edge guard them for free. But I have to play the patient game. Game & Watch even. I play both characters, so I know how the matchup goes. I know what each character wants. I've played this matchup before. Both with Game & Watch versus Pac-Man and Pac-Man versus Game & Watch, so I know how this matchup goes. Mewtwo's even. Mewtwo's buffs actually helps him out. It was a bad matchup in Smash 4, but it's better this time around. Cloud, I would say, is even. Yes, I did lose a Spargo, but like at the time I didn't really know what Cloud really wanted in this game. But he's only good in a couple areas, and once you know how to deal with it, it could be a problem for Cloud. Also, we've gotten better at edge guarding him, so edge guarding Cloud is much easier in this game. Lucas and Ness, pretty even. They get comboed really badly by Pac-Man, but they can keep the matchup honest because they have PK Fire. They can keep Pac-Man on his toes. They don't let him charge for free. Plant has Patui. He can actually shoot it over the hydrant. I have a good amount of high level experience in this matchup. Yeah, he also has down B through the hydrant, which is predictable, but like it's still an option. Trainer, once you know how to deal with all three of the Pokemon, it should be a lot easier for you. Squirtle, you know he just wants grab combos, so like you just play the anti-grab game, and it's very frustrating for the trainer to get in. Ivysaur has Razor Leaf, but Razor Leaf loses to Pac-Man's projectiles, so it's not really a threat. You can't play the traditional way. I would say you can't play the traditional way, like the traditional like Smash 4 way versus trainer. You're gonna get slaughtered. You have to play a more aggressive route because Pac-Man has the tools, and if you, let's say for example, you have one of them in a bad spot, you can frame trap by doing like a forward air, force them to switch, and then neutral air right after, and then you hit them, and then they're still in disadvantage afterwards. So the matchup's not that bad. We used to think it was really bad, but matchup's not that bad. Robin, I have experience with Jewel. He's actually beaten me before, but I've beaten him as well. This matchup is pretty much a zoning war until each person gets in. Fortunately, Robin isn't that fast on the ground, so it's not really an issue for Pac-Man that much. Let's see, Rosalina, I have to admit, I'm not the best at the matchup. I would say T is probably the best at the matchup. This matchup, you just have to play a bit more aggressive, and I'm starting to understand what I need to do in this matchup. I haven't played it in a very long time. You know, the only time I play it is versus the Buzz, and that's in bracket. I've never really played them like offline in an actual session and get to learn, and there's not that many roses these days, so it's really hard to get into it. Sheik is even. Sheik actually has the safest frame data in the game, so it's pretty good for Sheik. But she still has some issues. She got nerfed, so she's not that great. Shulk, this matchup is pretty even. I'm not the best at this matchup, honestly. Like, I would say T is probably the best at this matchup. I've only played Solar Arts twice. I don't have much experience in this matchup besides Solar Arts and a couple other Shulks, but T has played Kome before, and he has the winning record over him. He does get edge guarded pretty badly, so I would say, yeah, I would say just watch those sets if you want to learn how to fight Shulk. You can learn the ins and outs, how to deal with each Monado. I'm starting to learn as well. I think I'm much better than I was a couple weeks ago. Next matchup, Snake. Snake, I used to think wins this matchup, but I think it's even. I haven't lost to a Snake ever since Pound, and I'm starting to learn how to deal with Snake's disadvantage state. Snake has a pretty horrible disadvantage state versus Pac-Man, but like I said, you can't really dash grab him because he has up tilt. It's really hard to get around Nikita sometimes. You know, his traps, his ledge traps are pretty devastating off stage. But overall, it's more like a Snake's disadvantage state comes down to ledge trapping. Pac-Man's advantage state on Snake comes down to like edge guarding and yeah, just pretty much edge guarding, keeping him in the air. So that's why I would say it's even. Let's see, Villager. Oh, also for Snake, like I have a lot of experience with like Ally and MVD and Elka, so I kind of know the matchup. At first I was trying to learn it because like I already knew how to fight Snake, but I didn't know how to fight Snake with Pac-Man, so like it took some time. So moving on, Villager. So this matchup was bad in Smash 4 for Pac-Man, mainly the pocket and just the neutral overall. But the neutral got better because Lloyd Rocket gets blocked by Trampoline, so that's a really good tool to have versus Villager. And then you can just go aggro on Villager. They can't air dodge for free anymore. You can kind of like get them off stage. Just mess around with their balloons, do whatever you want. Let's see, Toon Link, kind of a zoning battle, kind of similar to when I was talking about Samus. Kind of a zoning war, it's kind of even. Wario's even because Pac-Man can kill earlier. In Smash 4 it was hard to kill Wario. That's why he would just get, you know, wafts for free, and you know. You can also do like little funny stuff with the bike, like throw it up in the air, trampoline, and then like he bounces on the trampoline, gets hit by the motorcycle. So you can do a lot of stuff versus Wario. Bite at the edge loses the ledge hop fair, so you don't have to worry about that ledge trap. And I have experience in this matchup. Next up, Yoshi. Yoshi's pretty even. I played some of the best Yoshis in the world. I played Suarez, I played Raptor. I've never lost to a Yoshi yet since this game came out, so you know, it's already been a year, so I would have put it at +1, but Yoshi still has a chance in this matchup. Like, they do get blocked out and walled out, but they can do a lot of stuff with eggs and stuff like that. They can keep Pac-Man honest, like not let him charge for free, because eggs is still there, it forces him to shield. So yeah, I would say it's even though I haven't lost to Yoshi yet. Young Link, very similar to Toon Link, a zoning war, and I also played Young Link, so I kind of know how that matchup goes. Zelda, Zelda's Guardian goes through like Hydrant and Trampoline and stuff like that, so it can be an issue. Like Pac-Man can't charge for free. Also Reflector keeps it honest, but her disadvantage state is always going to be bad. Getting her in the air is kind of bad. If you bait out Neru's Love, you can like bait it out, keep her in disadvantage. You know, she's not the best at dealing with Pac-Man's normals once he gets in on her. So yeah, I have a lot of experience. I've beaten Ven before, both in Money Match and in Bracket. I've beaten other notable Zeldas like Zero to None and Ace Attorney. I have a lot of experience in this matchup. Mii Brawler is kind of even. He has to rely on getting grabs, kind of like Kirby, but he's much faster, like in the air and on the ground. So that's why I put it even. It's kind of like Kirby, but like he's just faster, so it works out. Mii Sword Fighter, Reflector is really good versus Pac-Man, but he has a bad disadvantage state. His Chakram is good, you know, it goes through Hydrant, but like I said, his disadvantage is so bad and his recovery is so bad. So once you get in on him, it's like, I have a lot of experience with John Numbers. He actually stopped using Inkling versus me and started using Sword Fighter afterwards, you know, because he realized that Inkling is a bad matchup. And also I have wins on Cosmos and John Numbers for Inkling, so you know that's another reason why it's a bad matchup for Inkling. So now those are the even matchups. Now for his losing matchups. Now he doesn't have any super bad matchups at first. Like I said, I believed it when I was talking about Peach and even Palutena, but now I feel like nowadays the Pac-Mans are getting much better versus Palutena. We're actually understanding what we can and cannot do versus Palu. Pretty much, we thought it was bad because, you know, Explosive Flame goes behind the Hydrant, so it stops Pac-Man from charging. You know, Auto Reticle can be an issue. Pac-Man's speed makes it hard to deal with her doing fade back airs and stuff like that, but the matchup is not that bad. Her disadvantage is really bad versus Pac-Man, and I think it all comes down to how well you are aggressively versus the character. At first, like I said, I try to use a secondary. I try to use Game & Watch versus Palutena, and honestly, when I went back to playing Pac-Man versus Palutena, it felt a lot better. It felt a lot better. I know T tried to play Roy versus Palutena, and I think the matchup is not that bad. It was even in Smash 4, but like I said, she got better, Pac-Man got better, she got better slightly even more. So that's why I would say it's a -1 matchup. But over time, I think this matchup is gonna tighten up and get much better for Pac-Man in the future. I don't think this matchup is one of those matchups that we've been worrying about and trying to get better at over time, and we've been helping out each other. There's notable Pac-Mans like outside of the US that's been doing well versus Palutena's. People like Purple Debo, also E-King, and other Pac-Mans from like Europe and other regions. So we just gotta put the pieces together. Next up, Mario. He wins slightly only because he has better airspeed, better ground speed than Dr. Mario. Also, his FLUDD can be a problem. Throwing fruits at Mario can be a problem with FLUDD, but there's counterplay around that. Mario can kind of get back on the stage better than Dr. Mario because he has a better recovery. So yeah, I would say it's -1 for now. I can see it getting better. It all comes down to the mid-range game with Pac-Man. Like, I feel like Pac-Man doesn't really have to throw any fruits at him. He can kind of just ball it out with Mario. He doesn't really have to worry about, like, you know, should I throw this fruit or should I throw that fruit, you know. Next up, Fox. Fox has the speed to get in on Pac-Man, but he also has a reflector. Like I was saying before with Captain Falcon, like, he has the speed to get in on Pac-Man, but you can wall him out. The problem is that Fox has good ways of getting rid of the Hydrant, and he also has good ways of dealing with like the projectiles that Pac-Man wants to present at him. But the Pac-Mans have been getting better at dealing with Fox, like mainly his disadvantage state, mainly his neutral as well. So I can see it being even in the future. Like I said, I had a good record on light, like back in Smash 4, and now I have a bad one. But now I think it's just a different way of thinking for this matchup. I don't think it's that bad at all. I used to think it was terrible. I was even considering using Game & Watch versus Fox, but I don't think it's that bad. And then last but not least, Zero Suit Samus. Like Fox, she has the speed to get in. Also, she has the speed to get away from stuff that Pac-Man has. Like, she has Flip Kick to get around fruits and stuff like that. Her advantage state is not that... This is good, but it's not that great versus Pac-Man. Pac-Man can kind of box his way out of bad situations. Her disadvantage, obviously, has always been good. You know, she has Flip Kick to get out of pressure. So a lot of stuff like up throw, up air, you know, you can get one up air, but you can't get like 2 or 3 up airs because she has like that down B Flip Kick. So she's able to get out of stuff. Side B is a better tool. Able to clank with a lot of what Pac-Man has. She can pressure from a safer distance. So that's kind of the reason. Pac-Man just need to understand how to deal with her mid-range, because the mid-range, honestly, that's the hard part in this matchup. Trying to get around side B, try to get around rising back air, also like rising forward air. Her rising forward air is much better in this game. So yeah, this is my matchup chart. After a year of Ultimate, I'll probably update this again sometime next year again after a year, but yeah, these are my thoughts. These are based on my experience. Like I said, I played every single matchup at a high level with the exception of Pit and Dark Pit. So yeah, this is my matchup chart. I'm glad you guys enjoyed. Have a great Christmas holiday or Hanukkah or whatever you guys celebrate, and have a happy new year. Peace, guys.